And the reason for that, I think, is that it's not just about measuring these two silly parameters, W0 and WA, but it's also about learning the kind of cosmology we've been thinking about for a long time: galaxy formation, dynamics, physics of clusters, nature of dark matter. You can test neutrino masses. You can do many more interesting things about the gravity theory and the cosmological model than simply measuring these dark energy parameters. And in the debate just now, we heard this question whether it's people should work together more, or should be very open to each other, or should the surveys compete. And I think the healthy model is this co-opetition comparation model, where people are working together. They know what they're doing, but they're nonetheless trying to be better than the others. So that way you push everybody forward without steamrolling over people and turning everything into one large religion. And I think this field is a very nice example of how that can work. I hope it will stay that way. And the final reason why, personally, I think weak lensing is a very nice field to be in, is that it's an excuse to make lots and lots of nice pictures of the sky. That's why many of us became astronomers way back when. Okay, so, and I'm not really worried about this anymore, but there was this famous essay by Simon White a few years ago in which he pointed out that we have to be very careful or we all turn to particle physicists, and that's very bad. And I think both of those statements are not necessarily true. And there is no danger of us turning into particle physicists. And for domestic reasons, for domestic peace at home, I have to say I don't think particle physicists are. That's my own personal situation. And I think this meeting here has illustrated this again. There are large teams in this room, but the large teams are actually small teams, or they act like they are small teams. They work together. There's no big boss who directs everything and assigns the science you're allowed to think of in different boxes. It's all in a very astronomical way, all very open, very pleasant, very interactive. Booth made a point about how the theorists shouldn't turn into string theorists. I think there's very little danger of that, given the people that I see here. I think we are very good at leaving room for small individual groups with good ideas to work them out and exploit them. And I think keeping data sets open is a very important part of this, because there is going to be a huge amount of data out there. And we really have to make sure that we do not close off that channel by all of a sudden becoming very secretive about what the sky looks like. Okay, now, having spent a week in Edinburgh, of course it's had an impact on me as well. I have my own survey that I'm hoping to do one day called KIDS. And KIDS stands for Kilo Degree Survey. And in some of the idle moments I've been thinking about whether the acronym is really the best acronym for the survey. And I've come up with a few alternatives, and I'm curious what you think. So here's one. Gets worse. But I think the best one I came up with, and I've had this feeling every single evening at this meeting where there's been far too much food, is this one. You're all slow. Wee bit full. I think I'll stick to kids. And so KIDS is one of the examples of many new experiments and missions and data sets that we can look forward to. And, there's the list of all the surveys here. I've probably forgotten one. And so the point here is not that there are so many surveys and they're all great. It just shows that we have a certain robustness. Even if one or two of these surveys might go wrong, or might disagree, or they might run into some problem that they weren't expecting. But nonetheless, I think the field as a whole is indeed this train that's left the station. That's going somewhere. There's also been a lot of new ideas. I think magnification is really growing as something which is looks like it might well deliver a lot of extra things. I don't think I ever said that it wasn't going to work. I may have said that I couldn't measure it, but that's a different thing from saying that you can't. We've heard a lot of ideas about using the CMB for lensing, and also the 21 centimeter sky, I think 10, 15 years from now, is going to be a very important ingredient in this whole thing. And just to show that magnification does work, this is a sample of humans. We all know that humans are standard rods. They're all the same size. But nonetheless, there is a magnification field in front of this group of people. Right? Some people are a bit bigger than the others. And I think the fact that the tallest person in the room was the one to talk about magnification should have given you a clue that there is something going on. Right. So there were a number of phrases that I'll probably remember for a while that I hadn't heard before. Here's one. If you ask someone how expensive a mission is and you get this answer, you have to get very worried. That means there's a few zeros elsewhere which have to come. You can guess who said that just before the after-dinner speech. I think he failed. This was in the middle of Bhuvanesh's diatribe on string theorists. He thinks our theorists are the good ones. And that's what I'm in danger of doing now. Okay, so let me try to look into the future 10 years from now. This happened already during the panel meeting a little bit. I think I need to make a few statements which I believe are true. I'm not sure about this one, but I think it's probably true. I tried to find a picture of Thomas and put a beard on him, but I didn't have the time. This is probably the least likely of the whole. So Matthias, are you here? No, he left? Well, that's too bad. I think after all the story. I think this is another improbable statement that's on the list somewhere. And this one, I think, is. But I think the thing we'll have really learned 10 years from now is this one. Okay. Now, let me close. You remember the conference dinner? How many do you remember the conference dinner? It became a blur afterwards, perhaps, but it's. We had a very nice conference dinner in the castle, and if you remember, we were asked to at least do our best to dress up. Right. And so, I think most people, this was the example, most people did this very well. So I'm not going to comment on everybody's dress. There were a lot of men wearing kilts, and they just more and more and more of them. It was worrying after a while. But then I saw that in this country, women are also allowed to wear skirts. So I was back in the world that I knew. So anyway, you see many people really did make an effort. They did dress up very nicely. They did very well. I asked some people to, I didn't have my camera, it died, so unfortunately I couldn't take pictures myself, so I asked some people in this room, who shall remain nameless, to help me send me some pictures. I thought about having a competition for who was the best and maybe the worst dressed at the conference dinner. And I even thought of the prize that I could give, which is that the first prize would be a night of VST time. And then I thought the second prize would be 2 nights of VST time. And then I thought I wouldn't do this. So Ludo, I'm not sure if this is. You can try harder next time. And we won't show. I won't show the rest of the person. You may know who. Okay, I think I was going to do after this. Yes. So I think that's my summary. I think I had a great week. I think we all did. It's nice to see that many people are still here. I guess that means that we all did. Of course, the weather didn't encourage us to leave the room particularly, but nonetheless. I didn't have a picture of the whole organizing team, but these are some of the main players that we've seen running around all week, and also sending out emails beforehand and setting up the program, doing all this. So many thanks to all of you, and let's do this again sometime.